Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are looking at this Focus. The job for this bike is to fit a flat bar conversion. Yes, I've done that before, but this one's slightly different. This is 10-speed. What's the difference? Stick around and you'll find out. It's not a particularly expensive bike and I've got a budget to work to, so the budget for this job with parts and labour, around about £300. So a few requests from the customer. He wants some bigger tyres on here, he wants a bigger cassette on here, he wants to keep his front derailleur, double chainring, and obviously a flat bar. So the obvious way to do this normally would be to fit a Q's system, but we're going to lose the front derailleur there, and then we've got to start spending money on a chain set, bottom bracket. Problem with that though is this is a short gauge derailleur, so you're not going to fit a Q's cassette etc. with a derailleur, so you'd end up changing derailleur, chain set, cassette, chain, bottom bracket. It gets really expensive really quickly. So the way I've decided to do it to keep it in budget is we're going to go from 10 speed, we're going to drop it down to 9 speed. So then we'll put a Altus derailleur on here, a Levia I think shifters we've got, 2x9s, new cassette Ultra 1132, fairly cheap as well, new chain, new cables, and that's going to keep it well in budget. The intended use of this bike is literally around a farmyard for his kids. We're not doing up and down the Pyrenees on this, we're not doing the Tour de France. It's a low-cost bike and he wants a low-cost solution. I think that's probably the best way of doing it. I'm sure you guys will have different ideas and you're probably right. I'm not saying my way is the best way. There's 101 different ways of doing this, but this seemed like a good idea to me, so that's what we're going to do. So flat bar, new grips, new shifters, new brake levers, new brake pads, new tyres, new rear derailleur, chain, cassette, cables. I think that's it. So pretty big job. So let's get stuck in. We've also got cantilever brakes on here, so that needs new pads and adds another slight layer of complexity, so we need to get the right levers for that. We're putting 42C tyres on here. We want something a bit more sort of off-road capable. We're going for some cross-country ride tours there, so they've got a bit of a tread on them with a nice smooth centre section, which is what he asked for. So yeah, like I say, there's 1,001 different ways of doing this, but we've got a budget to work to. Interesting to see what you guys say. Budget of £200 on parts. See what you come up with to do the same job. I'm not saying this is the right way. There's many different ways to skin a cat or make a bike flat barred. So let's crack on. Take off all the stuff we're not going to need, which is quite a bit. Let's get these wheels off first. We're going to need them obviously, but we need some tyres. There could be the option for the customer to make some money back on eBay with these 105 shifters and rear derailleur in too bad condition. Bit of a scuff, but you could always make 20-30 quid back on that, I guess. The big bits, like the bearings, are all good, so that's would have pushed it sort of over budget if the things like the wheel bearings and bottom bracket we're going to get this wheel out as well. There's a very short cage derailleur you see on this one. Let's get this crusty old chain off next. Oh, quick link, look at that, straight to it. So 10 speed is getting more difficult to get bits and pieces for. Not difficult, but yeah, it's slightly more expensive for the same sort of thing, like cassettes, etc. They tend to be a bit more expensive. Get this off as well. I think all these gear cables are being replaced. Potentially, yeah, brake cables as well, actually. So all new cables, gear cables and brake cables, and these hideous outers. I don't know what these chrome-plated Jaguar things are. I don't like them at all. I think the customer bought this used quite recently and decided that's what he wanted to use it. Oh my god, they're so horrible. It's not coming across on the camera very well, but they're literally like chrome-plated. Disgusting. Anyway, they're going. Get this off. This is what they call a short cage derailleur. Normally most derailleurs will come down to sort of here, much longer cage, gives you a bigger capacity for whatever you want to do, but this is a very short cage, so you're limited as to how much capacity this can take between sprocket sizes, chain set sizes. There's calculations you need to do basically to make sure it'll deal with the cross chaining, etc. But for what we're going to do, this won't do it, and it's 10 speed. So all this is staying put. Bottom bracket, as I say, actually feels really good, sounds good. Front derailleur, I'm hoping will work with these shifters. It's only a double, so it should be fine. Get the cable out of the way. We do need to take this off though, because the new shifter comes with a new one. Like I say, if you're doing this yourself at home, then you probably think of 1,000 different ways of doing it. But don't forget, you've got to charge labour as well if you're working in a shop. It's a bit all you guys are going to forget. Well, you could have done it for much less than that. Not charity, guys. Alright, what else? Brake cables off as well. It's got road levers on it at the moment. Flat bar cables won't fit those, so it's all new brake cables. Need to keep this fancy straddle though, that was nice. Blatant copy of Shimano. Again, more of these hideous cables, oh my god. Disgusting. They're all going. Take this one off as well. We don't even need this inline barrel adjuster because the shifter will have one now. Look at this barrel adjuster. It's been maxed out over the years. Let's screw that back in. Because you don't have one on the road brake lever, you see, so we will have again on that. So we'll have that one and the one on the lever. Alright, so they're all disconnected. So all of this can come off now, so we'll just take these 4 mils out, pull the bar off, put a new bar on, and we're going to see how we go with this stem. It is quite a long stem, but If we need to change it, we can do it. It's dead easy. All you need to do is then undo that and slide it onto the fork steerer. So it's 5 minutes to change the stem. But we'll see how they feel with the slight riser bar. It might be okay. Look at the state of that. That's not even touching the fork anyway. Oh my god. Look at the state of this headset though. That's not even touching it. That's the top of the steerer, I think, sticking out there. So interesting. I think that's going to need a spacer or two. Anyway, let's get these bars off. Difference in price between doing this and sort of buying a hybrid bike that's already flat bars, probably minimal as well, to be fair. A lot of you will be shouting, and it's fair call. But the guy really liked the frame, and it's actually quite nice. Big chunky forks on it, and it's a Focus, so it's a half decent brand as well. And at the end of the day, it'll be fully serviced and ready to go. Anything you buy on sort of Facebook Marketplace, similar sort of shape and size and whatnot, you don't know the condition of it. You might need new wheels, you might have split rims and all sorts of stuff, so at least you're getting peace of mind spending this money on it. It'll be a decent bike once it's done. I do want to clean the frame a bit though, because it's got a load of sticky labels on it. Right, goodbye. So I'm going to see what's going on in here before I go any further, because it just does not look right at all. And there's quite a lot of play in it as well. Take this off. Something weird going on over the ears here. Make sure that expander is tight, which it is. I'm going to put a spacer on top of that. So you can have the spacer below or above, it doesn't make any difference, but what you need to do is make sure you've got clearance for this to not foul on top of there, basically, as it was doing, because all that's doing there is bottoming out on top of that expander, where it should be actually compressing it against the fork, so you need a spacer to give it a gap to actually do some compressing. This is still going to be tight because this is such a deep top cap. We'll try it anyway. So get that somewhere where it needs to be, then we need to loosen these off to get rid of this play, and then we can tighten this down and see if we can get rid of that play. Right, that's gone. I can't feel that now, so that's enough. Doesn't need much, but I say if you're bottomed out on the fork, you're never going to get your headset tight. I see it so many times, it's incredible. So while we've got it in this state, we might as well just quickly nip it out and check there's some grease in there as well. Pull this stem off, all these spacers off. This caps, this bearing cover's a bit tight. There you go, there's your compression. Bearings actually look really good. Look at that. Perfect. Yeah, we'll put that back together as it is. No issues there. Bottom bearing, I can feel that, and that feels super duper as well. Who says that? Leave that be then. Ow. I'm going to just nip this back down, take the play out. It's pretty easy when you've got your brakes on, obviously, but normally you'd be able to feel that if there was anything. I can't feel anything there at all. And just nip these up. Again, we'll need to align it when it's on the floor with the wheel in. Right, so we can fit the handlebar now, really. Right, fits. Make sure you get the right size for your stem here. So 31.8. There's a couple of different sizes. That's the most common one nowadays though. But you do need to make sure you get that right. And then we're just putting this clamp back on at the front. Hold them on. So that's upside down. It was. This is a pretty cheap bar, nothing special. Trim it down if it's a little bit alongside, which it probably is, but that's what everyone seems to want these days. Massive wide bars. I remember back in the day we had 22-inch handlebars on mountain bikes. Literally like this. They're so small. The brake leaves were touching, they were so small. Right, just tighten these evenly before you worry too much about getting this level. Make sure you've got an even gap top and bottom, and then get it in the middle before you tighten her up, which is about there. So we are on a riser, so it's going to make it a lot more comfortable, even with this fairly long stem. I think the stem might be a bit long, but like I say, it's sort of 10-15 pounds and 2 minutes work to swap it over. So we'll see how they feel first, and if it's a bit stretched, we can easily change it over. I've got a couple of spares kicking around anyway, so let's go. 8 Newton meters. Got a chopper coming in a minute. That'll be nice. A Silver Jubilee chopper. So that could be interesting. I don't know what it needs doing, but she sent me a picture and it looks in really good shape, but apparently it needs some TLC, so hopefully I can make a video out of that, because that would be pretty awesome to have on the channel. There you go. Again, I'll just rock this now to check that headset, and that feels absolutely fine. Right, stage 1, bar is on. Right, I'm just going to go a quick wipe down. There's some, like I say, there's some sticky tape here. I don't know if that'll come off or not. Well, it's been duct tape at some point, so it might not come off so easily. Chunky forks on this. Massive things. Chopper. That'd be pretty sick. Avid Shorty 4. Okay, I work with the levers I've got. We'll soon find out. I might have to change the brake levers. I think Shorty 4s are designed for drop bar levers, if I'm right. So I've got another pair if need be. I've got some adjustable Tiagra ones that will work, as you probably saw in the flat bar video. Now you're seeing another flat bar video, but with a difference. This should be a full video, not a quick Wednesday one. I say quick, they're never quick. Tempted to pull this chain set, but We're not going to get too carried away on this one. It's just a case of bolting the parts on and making sure it works. We're not going for a full strip down to a bare frame on this one, because then it would be over budget. A bit dusty, not been used for a while, I don't think. It's claiming a 1.25 inch tapered headset. I mean, that's not what all bikes have had for the last 20 years. God, stickers on bikes make me laugh, honestly. Just look for an acronym for absolutely anything that's just basically standard funny. I might do a video about it one day. It'd be hilarious. I'm going to take pictures of them all and add them all up. Right, definitely need some new brake pads, that is for sure. These are absolutely toast. No problems there, that's all in good shape. No obvious cracks or damage. So the guy did buy it second hand too, doesn't really know the history of it either, so just make sure there's nothing untoward. You never know why people are selling bikes sometimes. I do want to try and get this off though, because it just looks absolutely hideous compared to the rest of the bike. Problem is, they can be a bit of a nightmare. I'm going to get it warmed up and get a plastic razor blade on, see if it'll come off. These things should come off as soon as you get your brand new bike home. Just take them off once you've read the instructions. It's not even in English, everything's in foreign. Let's see if that actually comes off. Sometimes they come straight off, sometimes they're just a disaster. This is going to be the latter, I think. There's no point putting sticky label remover on top of the sticker. You need to get the label off first and then get the label remover onto the residue. That's how that stuff works. I'll warm it up as I peel it off now with my genuine part tool Heat-Con. Or is it T-Toc? Got it now, it's coming. So when you take them off when it's brand new and not 10 years old, then it comes off so easy. Yes, you end up with a shiny bit, but it looks a lot better than this rubbish. A little bit of polish, scratch remover, and that'll just blend that in nicely, and you'll never know. So much better. I hate them things so much. Someone in the comment will moan at me now for not asking the customer if I can take that foreign yellow sticker off. I guarantee you. Honestly. People get upset by such... Oh my god. Anyway, thanks for watching. Right, that actually looked really good now. It's got a bit of a gloss on it. I can't see where that sticker was, so that's the result. I do, however, want to get this bit off as well. This isn't a bit old bit of gaffer tape, it's just the residue from there. So I'm going to go heavy duty with this one here. This is good stuff. Also an empty bottle now. I need to get some more. Just rub that on and give it a minute to try and soften this glue up a bit. I'm not sure this is going to come off. It looks like it's been there forever. I hope it does, because this just looks terrible. Again, get a razor blade, plastic razor blade. Oh, no razor blade, please. And just see if we can improve this a bit. It's a lot better than it was. It's not all off, but it's a big improvement. Again, I'll just go somewhere. Actually, it's still coming, isn't it? Good. There you go. Perfect. Glad that came off. It was annoying me. Nothing to do with the service or the transformation, but just shit like that just annoys me. That looks so much better already. Loads better. Right, with that little diversion out of the way, we can start chucking some more bits on this, I think. Shifters, etc. Let's get the handlebar loaded up to get these shifters on. Onto this Wake handlebar comp series. Ready? Step 1. Shifters. This is a 2x, this is a 9x. Got some Avid brake levers. I hope these will work with these cantilevers. We'll see. If not, I've got some other ones where I can switch over the cable pull ratio. We'll try these first. I think they might be a bit on the wide side, but it's fine. You can always trim them. Customers requested these grips with these extra palm grip bits. That one goes on this side, like that. This one goes obviously on this side, like that. This Allen key they give you with that. Please, for the love of God, don't use that on your bike. It's just the worst thing ever. I may as well go into the kitchen and forge one out of chocolate. That's how good these things are. Get these somewhere near. Actually looking really good already. Let's get all these things tightened down. This ain't going to take as long as I thought. That's until we come across a problem that I didn't foresee with this conversion. Because there's going to be one, don't worry. 100% there's going to be something that I've forgotten to make sure is going to be compatible. There always is. If you've not got one of these are really, really useful for the small Allen key bolts. Rather than using ball ends, these have got a really good quality end on them. I think Park make a similar one. Pedro's probably as well, but Union, I've been really happy with this one. I use it a lot now. It actually lived in my mobile kit in my van for a long, long time. I forgot I had it, and then I dug it out and I've not stopped using it, so they're really, really useful. Right, let's get these tightened up somewhere close as well. Right, there on. Just tighten the other side up. I'm going to fit a bell as well, like I say, because the one that was on that old bar's broken. Normally I'll put one on anyway. Right, so they're all on. Next up, derailleur. So we're going for a long cage, saw a 9-speed. So that will accommodate pretty much anything we want to do on this. Much longer cage. You see the difference in cage length, so you're going to get a much bigger capacity. Whatever you want to do on this will handle it really pretty much. So we'll get this fitted. Grease on that bolt. Maybe it's a little bit of a downgrade going from 105 to saw, I grant you that, but like I say, we have to work to a budget. And you're not going to get anything better than this for the money, I don't think, unless you start going. I did look at AliExpress as well, because you can get like Q's group sets on AliExpress for 150 quid, but by the time you add in handlebar, tyres, grips, brake levers, it's just way, way, way over the budget. So 200 quid on parts, I think we've done all right here, to be fair, and I think it'll work quite nicely. All right, that's on. It's easy. It's already looking so much better just literally by getting those stickers off from them hideous cables. It's actually going to look quite nice, I think, with these bars. I like it already. All right, let's continue. What's next? Let's get these brake blocks off, because they are dead. Okay, so he's only got one set of brake pads left. Oh my God, typical, isn't it? Anyway, I'll get these on. I'll get some more ordered. These are fantastic pads, but I don't use many of these now, to be fair. That's why I've sort of run out. Most of them are obviously disc brake pads or dual pivot pads. Not that many of these are kicking around now, so I'll get some more of these ordered, but we'll carry on with what we got. These are fantastic pads. I've got hundreds of normal Fibrax pads, but I wanted to use those fancy ones because they look good with the red bits. It's going to look really nice on this bike, so I've got them on order. They'll be here tomorrow, so we'll carry on without them. Right, let's get these off. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to change those brake levers over to the other ones. Cable pull ratio is going to be different. We'll see how it goes. Not a problem, I've got them anyways. Compatibility between V-brakes, cantilever brakes, dual pivot brakes, disc brakes. They're not all just plug and play, unfortunately. You'll get them to work, but it's just the amount of the lever feel, how well they feel on the in the hand, the amount of sort of lever movement before anything happens. They'll either be too short or too long. Flip these spaces over so you can have a thick or a thin one. So we'll match what was on this one, thick one on the inside. Right, clean these up a little bit while we're here. Get a bit of lube in here as well while we're here. So these are already set up with a thick one on the inside, so that's easy. Fiddly things these are. You watch how many bits will drop on the floor. Obviously we can't set these till we put the wheel in, but we'll just get them somewhere close for now. Alright, they're obviously miles away from where they need to be, but like I say, we'll get the wheel in and we'll sort that out later. Right, so I've quickly swapped them over to the Tiagra levers. The point of these levers is you can switch the cable pull ratio. So this here will fit with these shorties. This is basically set up for a road caliper or these shorty cantilevers. Put it down to here and you'll work with V-brakes. So you see my flat bar conversion, I discuss all that in there, but they're on there. I think price wise there's not much in it. Like I say, I've got to wait for these pads, but it's not the end of the world. We can do a vast majority of other stuff without those. Let's get this cassette onto the wheel and the tyres changed over next. Flying through this one. So there's no tyres on the bike when it came. The customer had already borrowed them for something else, so that's an easy one. Do need some inner tubes, which is no problem. And we're going to put these 42s on it, which should be loads of room on this frame. There's so much room for it. Probably could have got a bit bigger than this, but he asked for something with a centre tread with a bit of a chunky side. I think this will fit the bill quite nicely, and again they're a pretty good price as well, so let's get this cassette off first. A few people asking what this tool is here. This is made by Unior. Basically you get an 11 tooth one here, or 12 tooth on the side. They do a separate one for 10 tooth for SRAM, and these basically locate into the sprocket here. So those pegs will lock into the lowest sprocket like that, and then you just use your cassette tool. This is a part tool one that goes over your quick release, so you don't need to take that out. Damn, that's tight. Whew. Crazy tight. Wow, tight. Don't need to go to the gym doing this job. Flipping out, knackered me out, that has. Alright, plenty of Shimano grease hanging out of here. Again, we're not going too deep in this. It's literally just a quick swap the bits over and get it rolling job. We're not going for a full strip down on every single component. Way over budget then, so this will be fine. Feels really good, to be fair. Beautifully smooth, no play. Spoke tensions all feel great. Nice wheels actually. Let's give it a quick clean behind here while we can. Nylon brush, great for this thing. No dork disc fitted to this. It's not a problem. Just make sure your gears are set up right and you don't bend your derailleur hanger. Then you're happy days. They've cleaned up really well. These are Focus own brand wheels, so that's actually really good. No issues there at all, no nasty cracks in the rim or anything. Let's get this cassette on here. Bit of grease on your free hub body. Still not convinced that does anything, but I still can't believe I've bought the wrong brake levers, oh my god. Never mind. I should know, especially after I've done my own video, that V-brake levers are not going to work with canties. Bit of a brain fart, I guess. Never mind, I got the right levers anyway. Right, look at that. Picasso at its finest. 9-speed cassette. 1132, so we did want a bit of a bigger range. Probably getting a slightly bigger one if need be, but this is bigger than it was. Do it easy here, just look for the big fat slot. Said that carefully. And drop her on. There she is. Like that. And the lock ring. Then what you need to do is do this up to 400 Newton meters, like it was. Oh, that's right, 40. Can't believe how tight that was, Jesus. 40 Newton meters. There you go. You always know how many clicks it is. How many cassettes do you reckon I've fitted? I can tell you it's in the thousands. Right, tyre. Customer asked for something with some extra puncture resistance for the farm use. So these are Kevlar belted. I'm going to use scissors for that. It should be pretty good. So direction on this one. There's your valve hole, there's your label. Fit this on. So I'm powering through this video a little bit because the one I've just did yesterday, day before, took 2 days. Oh my god. I don't know if you've seen it at the video. Oh my god, what a stunning bike that was. But yeah, I got a bit carried away with it and it took me 2 days to film it. And I put another 8 hours to edit it as well. So I'm on a bit of a catch up. Hence I'm just flying through this sort of normal stuff. This is the sort of speed I normally go through these jobs at. This is an hour and a half, 2 hours work, absolutely tops. But when you're moving the camera around and stuff, it takes a lot longer. This must be, I don't know, 90 something videos now. I started this Christmas Eve, so 10 months ago. Going pretty well though. And if you're enjoying it, if you're not already done so, I'm not even going to say it, you know what to do. Right, that's on. Pump her up. Put the wheel in, then we can set these limit screws on this derailleur. Make sure this tyre fits first, but I'm sure there's going to be so much room. Absolutely loads of room. See, not so much down the bottom there, so I think you'd have been pushing it to get much more on there. Alright, that's on. Nice. I need to set these limit screws here. I can already see the high one is pretty much exactly where it needs to be. Pull that low one over, nowhere near. It needs to come until the jockey wheel is obviously level with that pulley. That one there is already pretty much exactly in line with the smallest sprocket, but this one's nowhere near its biggest, so we just need to open up the low limit screw. Also, I'm trying to fly through this because I've got so many bikes to film, it's not even funny. And work, and some other things I'm working on that you'll get to know about shortly, hopefully. Big things. Big things. Right, that's not going to be a million miles away there. This cantilever's not cantilevering. Oh dear. This could be a problem, guys. When this spring thing's just spun around to where it shouldn't be. I ain't doing anything, that one. To be fair, neither's the other side. What's going on here? No work here. You can just set this pad now. It's not tight, remember. Just back this off. Jiggle her around a bit and just push her onto the rim. Not difficult. If you want to tear it, you can wedge a bit of cardboard in here or something like that, but normally I don't find a requirement for it normally, unless they're super squeaky, but these will be okay. The ones that squeak are the sort of really cheap rubbish steel press things, and they're terrible. Well, that's not in a good place there, is it? To be fair, I think these are going to work better with a thin spacer in there. I think the last person who fitted them has got it wrong. They're just sitting at a bit of a weird angle, so I'm going to swap that over. So I'm just going to swap these spacers here because it's just sitting at a funny angle like that. Try not to chuck them all over the floor. Oh, let's see. Oh, the amount of these that's on the floor, nuts and bolts and washers from these V-brakes is just incredible. Get that in there. Right, I think that's going to sit a lot better there like that. Definitely going to sit a lot better there like that. Give me discs any day. Right, that's not going to be far off there. We might need to tweak her again when we've got cables attached, but that's not going to be far off. Let's do the other side as well. Something not right with this spring. Definitely not. Let's get some cables attached later and we'll see what's going on. But right, I'll just change the other pad over. What is going on with these? Right, they're kind of on. We're going to need to do something with this spring because that is not doing what it's supposed to do at all. Take this off and find out. Something's fell off somewhere or come undone. We'll have a look later. I'll get some cables on first. We'll just clean this front wheel, put the tyre on, get that fitted. Like I say, we'll come back to these blocks when they arrive and carry on. Cleaned up again quite nicely. Massive forks, aren't there? I don't get why you'd have such massive fork clearance and then at the change days, you're not going to get much more than what we put on here. Whereas here you put loads more in. It's strange. There's so much room up. Got a whole finger in there. Just before we start cabling this up, I want to take a minute to thank this channel's ongoing sponsor, sportandleisure.com. Sport and Leisure are a UK-based cycling retailer with thousands of parts, tools, clothing and accessories ready to ship. Their listings are clear with proper descriptions and fantastic pictures, which I really appreciate after dealing with some other sites. So if things are listed as in stock, they really are in stock on the shelf, ready to go. Order before 3 PM, it'll ship the same day. UK shipping is free on all orders. But if you need it faster than that, then next day delivery is just £2.50. Again, UK only. Fantastic. So whether you're after some new wheels, brakes, or even a flat bar conversion kit, check them out. Their prices are pretty much unbeatable. If you're not in a hurry to buy something right now, it's worth signing up to their mailing list because they have some huge Black Friday and Cyber Monday discounts on the way. In the lead up, I'll be sharing a few teasers here, but if you want to be the first to know when the offers drop, make sure you're signed up to their mailing list. That way you'll get early notice before the best deals sell out. They've also given me a discount code for viewers, so if you use the code BCR10 at checkout on your first order, you'll receive an additional 10% off their already incredible prices. No brainer. So the link's in the description below. Thanks again to Sport and Leisure for continuing to support the channel. Now let's get back to this and get some cables fitted. So what we need to do is cut some outers from the shifter, obviously, to top of the top tube here. You can cross them over if you want, or we can go this way. I think, to be honest, I'm going to keep them on the side of the art, and we'll put some frame protection film here. So I have this little bit of flexible plastic that I've scrounged from somewhere. Actually pretty good for measuring these things up. So I'm going to run that to there, run that to the shifter. I'll hold that on there and see if that's long enough to do a full 90, which it is. So that cable length will be perfect. So this is the length that we need for that bit. The other side will be the same. Just open up these, a little pick or something. There's a little bradawl for woodworking. I've always used this. It does a good job. Stick them in there. Stop spinning around, please. Oh my God. The bike's trying to attack me. Thread that through there. Into the top of the frame. Pull that through. Off you break. And locate that into the lever there. Perfect. Alright, so just check that length again. Like I say, as long as you can go around the corner 90 degrees and we're not pulling extra tension on this, we're perfect. And I'll put some frame protection down here. Stainless cables that have come on these. I'm still a bit perplexed by those cantilevers and not springing back where they should be. I'll have a look in a bit. Somewhere not quite right somewhere. Right, this is going to the middle section on the frame. So they'll sit there like that. Then there's a piece for the front that goes from there to there. And the rear one that goes from there to there. Cut those next. I've got some of this hideous silver stuff on the floor, so I'll just use this as a guide. Just a bit more flexible for this. That's going to be there to there. Keep this nice and smooth. You don't need to accommodate for a curve here, obviously. Just keep it smooth. You don't want it sticking up in the air like this. Just keep it short, but not too short, if you know what I mean. So around about there is going to work. So hopefully that's about right. Not too bad at all, that. So get some end caps on there. You could probably go a couple of millimetres shorter, but don't go too crazy with it. Let's try it for size for the front while we're here. Not going to fit, that ain't. I think the front one is ever so slightly angled to go around that side of the frame, actually. The front one needs to be a tiny bit longer. Right, so this one is the rear. Clip in there quite nicely, and the front one, like I said, it's going to go down to here, and I'm going to spin it around to in there like that. That's not too bad. It's okay, so we can put the rear cable through there. So if you have any little cable donuts, you can just thread these onto the cable now. They're not essential, far from it. We just chuck 3 of these on. So what cable donuts do basically is allegedly just stop your cable pinging across the top tube, but in reality I find they do pretty much nothing. We'll stick them on anyway, we've got them. Put some on the front cable as well. Front derailleur has a little pulley that the actual cable goes around and then back up to the derailleur, so I didn't see many of them. Used to be quite a popular idea, but seems to have fizzled off, and that'll go up to the derailleur like that. Let me just try this lever. Yep, perfect. Well, I'm going to nip that up there now while we're here. Pull that pretty tight. We have got a barrel adjuster, but let's nip that up to where it should be. Try that again. It feels like it'll work. Good. There's one bit done. That was easy, wasn't it? So we just need another bit of housing from here, obviously to the derailleur itself. So grab a bit for that. Let's get this down to the derailleur. Got no chain on yet, so we can't try the gears, but that won't take very long to do. 9-speed pretty much works flawlessly. Straight out of the box. Now I've said that, it's going to be a disaster. Right, let's hook that in there. Hook that into there. And that's looking pretty good when you put the derailleur into its normal position. Maybe about 2 millimeters too long, but that'll work just fine. Right, we're in the bottom gear. We've already set the limit screws, as I say, so we can play with the B tension if need be. And we'll see how we go. Well, I'll just trim these gear cables now. We're not going to be far off where we are there. And this one. Beautiful. Oh, you might have guessed by now I like this tool. I had to wait a year for this to become available in the UK. Since Park advertised it, it took literally a year to get to the UK. Incredible. Well, it was worth the wait. Not like I had to wait for the post for a year. It just wasn't released to the UK market for a year, and then it was, and I bought it. This just needs a chain now, really, and then we can start looking at the gears and then revisit these brakes, see what's going on with these cantilevers. Because there's something really wrong with that. Right, chain. Put a SRAM 951 on this, so pretty basic chain. And again, we're trying to keep the budget low, so this is about your cheapest 9-speed that you'd worth put on. Let's get this in. Still waiting for this chopper to come in. Can't wait to see that. That'll be pretty cool. So let's get this threaded up. What I'm going to do is go small, run it through the jockey wheels, and then cut it so that the jockey wheel basically are not touching the chain. You'll see what I mean. There's 100 different ways of doing it. I mean, there's the right way of doing it, or there's my way of doing it. It's a bit more complex. If you've got a rear suspension bike, you've got to take into account sag and stuff there, but on something basic like this, I'll show you what I normally do, and it works fine. What I'm doing is going small, and imagining there's a link there, and that chain is nowhere near the derailleur. So actually, I'm happy with that where it is. So I can connect a quick link in there, and then I'll shift it up to big, and see how it looks. So potentially you don't want to cut it too short. By the time you get to big, you're going to explode your derailleur, so don't do that. I'm just going to join this with a used chain link at the minute until I commit to the final chain length, because obviously you're only supposed to use the link once. I know everybody uses it more than that, but I've got to show you the right way. So we're currently on small, so smallest sprocket there, smallest chain ring at the front. And what we don't want is this chain flapping around the bottom of the derailleur here. We do need some clearance. And that's the chain length out of the packet, so obviously we can't go any longer because that's how long it's supplied us. The critical bit is getting it up to big, so hopefully the shifter will actually get up here now, which it does. And then we'll shift this up to the largest sprocket, which should hopefully get somewhere close. I've not set the gears yet, but we'll just get it up there, like that. And that looks pretty good there. And a rumbling noise, let me investigate. It's that brake block. Right, yeah, so that looks pretty good. B tension is probably a little bit far out, so I'm just going to pull that in a little bit tighter and then go for the indexing basically. I'm quite happy with that chain length. Also, it's far more critical on something like a full suspension mountain bike. Way more critical. Flick that back just to reset that, otherwise sometimes you'll find you'll screw this in and it doesn't do anything. So I just flick it around a few times, let the spring find its own place, and that's set to where it should be now. So what you're looking for really is a 6mm gap between the lowest tooth on the sprocket and the highest tooth on the jockey wheel, basically where this chain is. You can't see it obviously because the chain's in the way, but around about a 6mm gap there, and that's pretty much spot on. You can always open it up a little bit if you start to get noisy on this big sprocket. You'll tend to find these get a bit noisy on the biggest sprocket, so you can just back it out a bit if need be. But I think that'll be pretty good there. Let's see how the indexing goes. I'm still going to make a video about doing gears and whatnot. Don't worry, I will do one. I just want to make sure I get it right, because there's so many out there and people still get confused, so obviously the correct video is not out there, is my thinking. First thing I'm going to do is press this lever without pedalling. It's in the 9th sprocket still. Press this hard. All I'm going to do here is all these plastic ferrules that we put onto these new cables, they're going to seat to where they want to be. If you don't do that first, you're wasting your time setting the gears, because as soon as you ride it, they'll bed themselves in over a few rides and your gears will be out of whack. So it's a critical step. This is definitely not going to work as it is, because look how much slack that's pulled through just by doing that. Let's just pull that through this rear derailleur again. That's why I don't tend to do this up super tight until I've done that, because it always pulls through loads more. Well, that's pulled through another 3 or 4mm there. Now you can tighten it up, because it's not going to do that again. If you look at this now, it's a lot tighter. You want kind of a guitar string, not quite that tight. Let's go for a gear, and I think you'll find that will shift straight up. Let's wind her up a bit first, and then one shift. Perfect. Next. Perfect. Not quite perfect. That's going, trying to go back down, that is. And you can see that, it's just skipping between those two. So it wants a bit more cable tension. So a couple more turns on here, and I think you'll find that will sit in there quite nicely now, like that. Keep going. So it goes up beautifully. Does it go down? Of course it does. 9-speed. It's very hard not to get 9-speed to work properly, believe you me. It's fantastic. They should have stopped at 9. Right, that's working lovely. Let's have a look at this front derailleur. So I've done nothing to this front derailleur. I've literally just fitted the shifter. And that's going down, and that's going up. I'm getting easy in that, guys. Come on. Tiny bit of rub on first gear there, so I'm just going to open up this limit screw a tiny amount for the first gear, because it's got a tiny rub on there. There you go, literally less than a quarter of a turn on that screwdriver. Let's get rid of that rub on there as well now. Gears are done. So they're set. Super easy, relatively affordable, and a decent gear, and a decent range of gears for the guy as well. So that's what he asked for, and that's all working beautifully. That was very easy, wasn't it? I'll say, go for 9-speed, it's so hard not to make it work. Let's just change this chain link for the correct one now. That was only a temporary one, remember? Just use one of these if you got one. Brilliant bit of kit. Of course you can reuse the chain link, but obviously the manufacturers say you can't. Go and buy the book, you can't, but everyone does, I know they do. But now we're happy with that, we're just going to commit with the brand new link that came with this SRAM chain. Gold. I don't know why it's gold. The rest of the chain's silver. I guess it's easy to find, but not when it's covered in oil, it's not. Clip that in there and then use your tool. Like that, done. Still got to sort these brakes out, I don't know what's going on with this, look at that. Before we do that, let's run some cables. So this is the front brake in the UK, it's just got to go down to this stop here. So just a short piece of brake cable, new inner, through the straddle cable, connect it up to these. These are not doing anything either, honestly, just weird brakes. Go into there, and I'm going to just drop this down to here. This doesn't need to bend either, this can be a one fixed length, so we're about there on this one. Just make sure you don't have any spiky bits of cable sticking out the end of it. So I normally run it across the grinder, but I appreciate the majority of you are not going to have a grinder, so use some side cutters, just get that jaggy bit off, and then open it up again with a dowel, so you have a nice hole there. Dowel? Not a dowel, is it? Alright, so that is cut. No, that's fine. So we need a brake cable, obviously, and that's going to go down to here, down there, and onto this straddle cable. No problem, it's exactly the same as Shimano did back in the day. Tiagra levers, I'll say these are the ones with the dual pivots. Not dual pivots, not really the right terminology, dual positions. There was a posh name for it, I can't remember what it was. But they did give it a proper name. But it gives you the choice to set to whatever type of brake you're running. So, because we're on these cantilevers, we need to set it to the basically road bar position, not V-brakes. The cable pull should be about right then. We'll find out if I can get the springs to work. Right, that's not bad there. So this just threads through half of this, and there's a little notch on the top that basically means you've got it set at the right angle, pretty much automatically. You can't go wrong with these. They're quite a good idea, really, to be fair. So that goes in there, that will hook in there. Make sure that's hooked in its centre slot there because there's one offset. And then by the time you put that down to the back of the caliper itself, it's pretty much basically set. Oh, you can't go wrong. You can get these in different lengths, but obviously this is one that came with the bike, so we'd have to presume it's the right one. We'll find out when it doesn't work. So I'll nip it up roughly just to make sure these feel like they're going to do something. Crazy cat outside, sorry. Well, it's getting a bit late in the day now. I think I'm going to have to wrap this up shortly. Continue tomorrow. Just got to wait for this chopper to arrive. Ooh. So, how does that feel on this lever? That feels absolutely great. It doesn't work, but it feels great. But we can play around with the spring tension. I say once I get these pads on, then we'll perfect that. But the actual lever feels beautiful, nice and firm, good throw, and it'll work. Good stuff. So I just fit a cable to the back. It's basically exactly the same housing from there to the top of the top tube, down to there, and then down to the actual brake itself through that straddle. And then you can join me to work out why these springs are not working on that back brake. I hope we don't have to fit a new brake because that's really going to blow the budget. Let's see how we go though. I'm confident we can fix it, don't worry. Right, I'm going to call it a day and be back tomorrow. Next day, pads have just turned up, so I'll get these fitted now before we continue. Flipping nightmare I'm having. I've been recording another video all morning and something's gone majorly wrong with this microphone. I'm hoping this is working this time, but I had to record the same thing like probably 10 times. It's so annoying. For no reason at all. Never mind. I'm just going to back this out for a bit. It's easier. I haven't set this yet anyway. There you go. These pads are great, honestly. If you get these tri-compound pads, they are actually really good. Power is very good. There's some spring adjusters on these, obviously, and you can. There's normally 2 or 3 holes. Well, there's normally 1 or some. Hopefully, there's 3 holes on the fork, and you can get an option there to get a lot more spring tension because at the moment. I mean, that one side's okay, but this one's doing nothing, you can see. But hopefully we can balance them. Normally they're okay, but this one just feels a bit weird. That's my only concern. It doesn't feel like a normal, slightly out of balance issue. Feels like a bit more drastic. I hate these. Literally every single one of them on the floor. Yeah, I really hope this audio is actually recording because, Jesus. When I bought these microphones, they're quite expensive obviously, but there's a choice of 2 basically. You get DJI, or these Rode, and so I went for the Rode. I might be ordering some DJI shortly if these start doing this because it's just massively frustrating and time consuming if you've spent an hour doing something, filmed it, and then it's not worked, you've got to refilm it basically, take it all off, refilm it, and sometimes it's just not possible. So yeah, it's a big problem if it doesn't record audio. Right, tighten that up about there. And just pull this cable through now and we'll see how we're actually looking. And about there. Right, let's go for a lever squeeze. Let's see, there's nothing happening here. This one's moving. That's pretty much solid there, so let's get some more spring tension on here. Hopefully that will just pull over. 3mm screw, I'm just screwing that in until it actually does something. Quite a lot on there. Oh, that's actually moving now, so that's okay. I have set this a bit too tight, to be fair, that's why that's rubbing there. So we can back that out a little bit. Like that. Pull this back down to where it sits there, and then it locates into a little centre clip in the middle sort of thing. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. It feels nice on the lever. Right, good. One done. Just trim this. Right, I'm just going to check this has actually recorded any audio before I do the back end, because that would be super annoying. Right, that recorded okay. So I've already ran this cable last night before I locked up. So I'm just going to thread this through here. You didn't miss anything, don't worry. It's just the same, threading the cable through. Right, let's set this, hook these springs behind their pegs, like that, and see what happens. I'm probably panicking about nothing, it probably just needs a tweak on these 3mm, but it just feels a bit weird. Right, let's see how that goes. See, it's fine, absolutely fine. We do need to come over this way though. That wheel in straight. Not quite in straight, you see I can get a full, I don't know if you can see, but I can get a full finger down this side and not quite a full finger, so this wheel's not quite in straight. Let me just do that. Problem when you're on quick releases and not through axles. Right, that's in straight now. You can get equal amount of finger down either side. That's technical measurement for you. There you go, totally fine, good. Just going to pull a bit more cable through. Actually quite nice brakes there, about there. Right, I'm happy with the lever travel though, so we'll tighten that up. And again, just trim this off. Starting to look pretty good now. Actually looks really good. It looked like a bit of a wreck when it got here, but it's actually turned out to be quite a nice bike. It actually needs a bit more tension on this side, but this one's maxed out. So obviously we can decrease the tension on the other side to have exactly the same effect. So let me just unscrew this side. And you should see this pad just basically moving over ever so slightly. Try that on the lever now. Pretty good. So this pad just needs a bit of an alignment, and then we should be about there, I think. Needs a lot of an alignment. Got that one miles out. Like I say, it's much easier when the cables are actually connected and it's under tension. Right, that's good there. A little bit too much tension on this side, so back that out a fraction. Not too much, guys. That looks pretty good. Nice. Lever feels really nice, is good. Right, that is done. Tell you what, I'm pretty happy with that. That's actually come out really nice. The gears are super sweet. These brakes are really nice. Decent pads, new tyres, the whole shebang basically. So that's sort of met the customer's brief and kept it on budget as well. Like I say, I've said it before, there's 100 different ways of doing this with queues, one buy, etc, etc. But to get it on budget, I think I did pretty alright there, to be fair. Just giving this front pad a bit of a tweak as well. It wasn't quite where it needed to be. That looks good now. The other side is good. Yeah, nice. Alright, I'm just going to give this a very quick spin, make sure nothing falls off. Right, only issue is this saddle's not straight. It just feels nice. That stem feels reasonable. It depends obviously who's riding it. Like I say, it's 15-20 quid to pull a shorter, more upright stem if need be. We'll see how they go first, and then they can just let me know. Alright, I'm actually really happy with that. That's come out really, really good. The customer should be happy with that as well. Paranoia check, make sure you've tightened those. Honestly, I woke up in the middle of the night once and I thought, did I tighten that on something? Oh my god, worst feeling in the world. I did, but you know what it's like. Bit of frame protection film just where this cable's going to potentially sit against the frame. There you go, genuine carbon fibre, honest. I'll stick some on the other side. Flat bar conversion, job done. So we can change this if need be. Let's see how they go first. No point just changing it for changing's sake. It might be perfectly comfortable for them. The gears are lovely, brakes are fantastic actually in the end. They actually came out really nice. I think these tyres are a good size for it. Got rid of these crappy marks on the frame. They look really nice. This is a decent bike now. So I'll let the customer know it's ready for collection, and it's on to the next one for me. Thank you very much for watching.